Hello all for the second garden tour of the season. Thought we'd start in the perennial garden. We'll try to make this a little less lengthy than last time. Lots of cool things happening in this garden. Let's see, so we got, let's see if I can find, that's my new dahlia that just blossomed. I've got poppies. Where are the poppies? They're right there. And there, I had a little white one over here. There's a white one. Oh, he's kind of bent over now. Got lots of little things going on. I've got my milk thistle, which he looks, I don't know if he's gonna blossom or not, but we'll see. We've got Daga that's gonna hopefully blossom soon, or bloom soon, I should say. So yeah, just lots of cool colors. I really like this. We'll see how these pair out in the next coming years. And then we've got bird feeding area, which is kind of a mess right now. Sweet potato vines and zinnias. I saw a hummingbird on the zinnias this morning, so that was kind of cool. And then there's Sawyer with the water fountain. And so this was the garlic bed. Now it's beans. And I have a rogue tomato that I pulled the sucker off of, and yeah, so he's growing pretty tall. I need to stake him up. I actually have to show you something really cool. My solitary bee hotel, you can see there's 3 areas. Let's see, right there, and right there. I have bees in there. They're usually leaf cutter bees, and they pull leaves off and shove it in there when they lay their larvae. I'm still learning about them, but it was really cool to see that because I bought 2 hotels and haven't seen anything since. So I thought that was really neat. So I'm excited about that. I have the first couple green beans right here. So that's kind of exciting. I'll have to pull those. And then the pepper bed. This is probably my favorite bed in the whole garden. We have the zinnias, and the cardinal climbers have not put out flowers yet. I don't know if they're going to. I've got peppers, just waiting for them to mature. And then these cosmos are really cool looking. I don't know what kind they are at all. They're really neat looking though. I really enjoy those. Although they're kind of taking over. I have a pepper that's in between there. So yeah, and then my cabbages are looking amazing. And then my canna lily is so cool. It's a bright yellow. My ones last year that I saved the seeds from were orange, so I don't know where the yellow one came, considering they were all seeds I saved, but whatever. Cabbage is looking really great. And we've got my first, if you can see that, my first lemon squash. So that's exciting. And then the butter squashes. I have to thank my friend Amanda for giving me those seeds. That's been the most prolific this year. So thank you, Amanda. And then I have my Italian striped zucchini, which is definitely the biggest plant, but I've only pulled 1 zucchini off so far. So yeah, so just to kind of take a look at this. And then we got my strawberries, which are going crazy. I'm going to try to get the runners here and pot those up. I have my cucamelons back here. They've grown quite a bit since the last video. They're just starting to vine now. I don't know if they'll put out fruit in enough time. Brassica bed, actually I pulled off all of the cabbage. Still have my kohlrabi. I'm still trying to get something from that, but we'll see. Carrots, scarlet runner beans are looking really cool. I actually saw a hummingbird on these flowers today, which was really neat to watch. So that's exactly why I planted it, was to try to get the hummingbirds, and I was successful. It was the first day I've actually seen hummingbirds on these plants, so that was kind of neat. Then we have the sweet potatoes here, potatoes in these 2. They'll be dying back soon, and I'll see what I got for a harvest. I'm not sure. Carrots, Tokyo long bunching onions. Planted a cucumber. You can see he's right back there. We'll see what we get from him. More beans. And then I planted some dill right along here and more cucumbers. We'll see. They're seeds. It's not a big deal if I don't get anything. So this was my project last week, is my strawberries are putting out a ton of runners. So I don't know if you can see, I just made like kind of like a little garden pin and just like kind of planted the runner into the soil so that they'll hopefully root. So I have a bunch of them. They're just like, and they're still attached to the mother plant, so they're still getting some nutrition from that. So we'll see. This is my first year growing strawberries, so it's been kind of neat. But so yeah, they're just beautiful. They're doing so well. All these are strawberries. And then my portulaca from seed, and then my violas and pansies. And then I planted some squash. So this was where my peas were. I think that my peas were still in last time. So I have squash going here. And my begonia right there. And I have some ice plants that are in bloom. They're not really that great right now. And my chamomile right there. And again, these are so cool. So this is a bee balm. And it makes this kind of, it almost looks like a water fountain. Really neat. And the bees have been on that. It's been cool to watch that. Dill's going to flower. So we'll probably see the seeds of that. And more strawberries on my strawberry tower. And then look at this little calendula blossom, is really cool. Yeah, and then I had a nasturtium plant here, and so I pulled those out and have cucumbers, and then I put beans in the middle. We'll see again. Okay, and then the dead grass. And there's Sawyer again. And then we have more zucchini plants all the way around, and the poor dying sunflowers. The birds come and sit here and eat the seeds, which is kind of fun to watch. And then my towers, my stacking towers aren't looking too great, but yeah, they fell over earlier in the season, so we did what we could. These are orange hat tomatoes, and they are super yummy. They're determinants. They don't get really big at all, the plants, but they are super cute and tasty tomatoes as I eat one. Petunias have become one of my favorite flowers this season. I mean, I loved petunias anyway, but they are the flower that just keeps giving. So I bought a ton of petunia seeds for next year, and I'm just going to put petunias everywhere because they're just so colorful, and they just keep putting out. Like, look at that basket hanging on the fence. I mean, just this pop of color. It's just so gorgeous. I love it. So I'll be planting a lot of petunias, and they just keep flowering. This is my other one. Just awesome. I love it. And we have another one here. And then I have, this was every time I do a video, I forget exactly what it was. A geranium that was on clearance, and I bought it, and it's beautiful. I'm going to try to overwinter it this winter, and see if we can keep it for next season. And then that is my newest cilantro bed. It's slow to grow, but it's starting to, I could probably start harvesting it. The squirrel kind of got into it and dug up some of it, so it's not as prolific as it could be, but that's okay. So we'll go back. My nasturtium plant is still going. Just put out a bunch of blooms, but it's looking like it's dying. And then the prolific kiwi, I showed you this last week. It has grown tall. So we are working on getting this wire up so that we can actually string it along, and we can kind of train it along the fence line. This poor tomato plant had, every tomato except the ones that are currently on it had blossom end rot, so I pulled them all off, which kind of sucked. I mean, it's in a pot, so I don't know if it's just not getting enough water, but yeah, it was a bummer. But and so then we have a holy basil I let go to seed, and it just smells so good, along with regular basil here. I've harvested so much basil, it's been pretty cool. So tomatoes, if you can see that, that's the sidewalk, that's the tomato. Tomatoes are probably, I would say 8 to probably 9 feet tall, because the top of the stake here is 8, and that one is obviously quite a bit taller than that. Maybe 8 feet, because it goes in about a foot. Who's counting, right? So have obviously ripe tomatoes, love them. I've been pulling a ton of cherries. I apparently planted a ton of cherry tomatoes and not a bunch of larger like beefsteak tomatoes. So I don't have a ton of those. I just pulled 2 off last night, but I'm loving the cherries, don't get me wrong. This was a little volunteer sunflower. Pretty much all my sunflowers this year have been volunteer. Just a cute little guy just popping his head out of the tomatoes. And then we obviously have like the spicy glow basil and purple basil and stuff like that. And it's growing so wild, it's growing right in my way. I have to push it out of the way. I just can't bear myself to trim it. But and then more volunteer sunflowers will come around here. Just beautiful. I just can't tear them out. And then we get another volunteer sunflower, which is, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And there you go. Those are probably almost 10 feet tall. Volunteer. If you see the stalk on this, seriously, it is like it is a stalk. I don't even know. I can't even, it's huge. It's like a tree, and I can't even like bend it. And then I also have, it's kind of cool, I have my, see if I can find, so there's a thing called the 3 Sisters method of sowing. So I just have my beans. My beans are just wrapping around it naturally. I didn't even try to do that. They were just there. And they're just wrapping right around the sunflower. I actually have a melon plant that's growing up the sunflower. This is a melon plant right here. He's just growing right up there. So it's kind of neat. Although the sun isn't getting to, sorry, this is a mess of a video. Is not getting to the onions. The onions are over here, and so there's not going to be, the onions aren't going to be very big, but that's okay. So I'm going to try to zoom in here. I don't know if you could see this guy. Right there is a melon. He's probably the size of a baseball. I don't know what kind of melon because I've lost track of all of the markers, but that's okay. Then we have some cucumbers. We got it's a miniature white cucumber. Got just cucumbers, little ones. And this guy was weird. He ended up starting off as like a squash plant, and then he just vined all the way up, and he's now up here in just like a week's time. He's crazy. Although all male flowers, no female flowers, so it's kind of been a bummer. So this is my melon bed. Obviously I have onions and sunflowers, random, and pole beans. The pole beans are looking cool. I've not gotten one bean off this plant though, but it's going all the way up this trellis that I put together earlier this year. So, but not one bean yet that I can find. So we'll just keep waiting. More volunteer sunflowers. This is the favorite for the birds to perch. You'll see all of these. The birds just sit on the branches of the other ones and just peck at the seeds. So it's fun to watch. And this is our guest bathroom. And so just happened to be washing your hands or something. And you see the bird out there. I caught a video of it last week. But yeah. And we're going to do a spin around here. These are my 2 ginger plants. So this is ginger. And there's one little sprout if we can find him. Oh, he kind of died actually. So he is right there. And then this is my avocado plant I told you about last video. He's not doing great, but that's okay. We will keep him because he's probably 3 years old now. So again, volunteer sunflowers. This guy has kind of taken over this bed too. So this is my cucumber bed. And I've got cucumbers. It took a while for them to come out, get going, but they're doing pretty well now. I ripped out the pineapple tomatillo right here, and there was one over here, and I planted basil, which you can see those little sprouts coming up through the soil. And so we're waiting for those. More peppers as well. And yeah, and then these are teddy bear sunflowers. Are these not the cutest little things? So cute. And they're just popping. They're not very tall at all, but just super, super cute. So I'm debating. I want to kind of cut them and bring them inside, but then I don't because they're just really cute right there. So I don't know. Oh, there's a little cucumber right there. So it's funny because you don't see them some days. Oh, there's two right there. You don't see them, and then all of a sudden they pop out at you. It's kind of fun to, it's like a little treasure hunt. So actually I'm going to bring you back over to this bed and show you. I planted some rogue potatoes right here, and they're popping through. So we'll see. I decided I'm going to plant on this trellis. There was a ground cherry here, and I had to rip it up because it just wasn't producing. It's taking up a ton of space. So I'm actually going to plant a pea plant here, maybe a couple pea plants. And so, yeah, that's kind of the garden. I'm going to actually walk you over here, and then I'll give you kind of a back up to show you what that looks like. It's a mess. It's a jungle. Along the side of the house, it's just a mess. And when you plant it, you don't think about how much it's going to grow, and then it just overtakes it. And it's not producing as much as I was hoping to this year so far, but you know, I'll deal. It's starting to now, but of course, as soon as it starts to get a little crazy is when it starts to get cold and you lose everything and you have to start all over. So I love it when it gets like this. Now you can see how tall those sunflowers are. But anyway, I thought I'd just give you a quick look at what's going on, and we'll try and do one in a couple weeks and see what else we got. See what the new things that I planted are growing. But thanks so much for joining me. Thank you for taking an interest in looking at the garden and what I have to show. I really appreciate it. Have a great evening. Bye.